All right. Hello, guys. Hi, Lisa. Uh, hello, Lisa.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So, we decided to do this live stream. This is gonna be just us testing scalping strategies. So let me say again, testing scalping strategies. So, this is conversation that me and Lisa have all the time. Telegram with the Hangouts and whatever, and we try to discover new strategies, test new strategies, because you guys know that in trading there are millions of strategy you can follow. There is price action, there is big time frames, there is patterns, and there is scalping, holdings, there is everything. So every strategies has their own tools and based on every strategy you need to know and practice the best, of course, indicator skills and whatever you got to make the best trade possible. This was just me testing some resistance and support. But we want to start from fresh to show and trying to understand what's the best way to first of all pick up the best coin to scalp. So, and me and Elise are just gonna discuss things. I'm gonna ask questions to her. She might ask questions to me, and we just, trying to figure it out what the best thing can be for scalping. So, well, in order to select the coin, what you think, Elisa, should we focus on, and how we should pick the best coin? I mean, for me, we should probably check coins that are for sure in uptrend, so we don't trade against the trend at all. Because we are really focusing on 15-minute chart and 5-minute chart, so anything that's going up could be a good scalping um, coin, or at the same time even a coin that is going sideways in an accumulation zone that or is going in a rectangle. That's another coin that we can buy support and sell at the top. What do you think should be a nice tool to pick up those coins, in your opinion?
Um, I'm just testing different things at the moment. So far for me, there's the two different strategies. There's looking for coins that are showing up on the volume monitors, so they're going up. They've got a reasonable amount of volume going into them, so there's that buy interest. So when they hit a fib, they'll bounce reasonably high.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, there's the ones that are going sideways, so they're looking for the coins with the channels. And so far, I've mostly for those looked at charts, but what I've started to do is use the TradingView crypto scanner, and I can't say I'm using it effectively as yet. I
Okay,
haven't used
okay.
it for long enough, but I've set up a few different things, one of which is volume and volume-based indicators, and the other one's volatility.
Mm-hmm.
And volatility I thought might be quite an interesting one, using ATR, ADR um, ratios and things to try and see, which coins have volatility and therefore, again, are going to be
Oh.
worth scalping and give you large enough percentages.
Mm-hmm. So this is for guys you don't know. This is the crypto scanner um, of TradingView. You can set up many things on it and set it up how you want. So that's for sure a tool that we can use to figure it out. Um, Many data in the coins. Do you think volume matters? This little scalping thing.
To some extent, yes, I think, because otherwise you're not going to get the bounces. And that was one of the things I was looking at AST yesterday, which is one of the ones I posted. Um, and it did bounce where I thought it would bounce. But then it just kind of stayed at that area, and it's now, I think, like 12 hours later or 24 hours later, and it's now fallen. But so yes, I think they always do bounce where you think they're going to, because there's always some buyers sitting there already with the buy orders at those fibs and at the previous resistance levels.
Hmm?
But if there aren't enough new buyers coming in, then it's not going to bounce very high, and therefore isn't worth the scalp. So again, I think there's strategies and things to look at to try and pick the best coins from a volume perspective for sure.
Okay, let's check first. Someone is listening. I just want to make sure the audio is okay on both sides. Was on my OBS, your audio is pretty good. Mine, now I lowered my volume, so I wanted to see how good there is, if there is anybody, if there is Mark LeBlanc. No, there is another watching right now. So what happens with my headphones? I had my headphones. If my volume is pretty high on my headphones, my actual microphone gets your voice from the from my headphone. So sometimes I have to lower. That's why the last time you were hearing echo.
Yeah.
Hey guys, anyone can confirm the audio if it's pretty good? You can write in the chat, YouTube chat, please. Vocals. Oh yeah, the team too. We can share in the team and see if someone can figure this out. Okay, so far. So let me see this on settings, input. Well, for now everything looks good on my side, so let's keep going and then we'll see if anybody answer us. Okay, so let's go pick up a coin that might be a great coin to scalp. And what you have in mind? You have any coin in mind that we should look at?
I'm looking at IOST at the moment, just as an example.
Okay, and okay. So this coin, it's of course, it's always important to consider the overall uptrend of the coin, even though we're scalping 5 minutes. So having a look at the 4-hour chart, it's for sure important. And what I can see from this coin is trying to, it broke already resistance, horizontal resistance here, right there, and this can be a point of resistance. There is another point here, and broke it, dropped probably 70. And maybe Elisa maybe was looking this coin. Is that a 70 drop?
I think it did. I'm not looking at that chart
Would you
right now.
trace oh, you didn't say Yotex?
Yeah, no, I did. Sorry, I was looking at the Binance chart, so I didn't have my full analysis
Oh,
on
okay,
it.
sorry. So would you trace, you say, you're testing this Fibonacci from the candle here, the big pump candle, right? Not from the bottom?
Yeah, I'm testing just a few theories. I mean, the case of IOTX, it's actually gone to probably the 78.6 again, depending on where you trace. But I
Okay.
think there's options for like I'll show you when we get in on the closer up what I'm thinking. But yeah, there's options for tracing from the bottom of the previous fall or from the start of the candle when the candle breaks. So in the case of your chart at the bottom of the yellow candle. But in that case, this is retraced to the 88.6, so that's a massive retracement. But obviously, this is a slight exception coin because it's fallen a lot more than most would, so it's probably a bit different.
All right. So, well, we need to see if we break this red, I guess. and and then see if it keeps going up. Would you consider this as a resistance? This red line?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
So if we break this resistance, the scalping might start to be interesting, and that's why we want to go to check closer now to see what's happening. So let's go on the 4 hour. Some, it got rejected there, and we can even go closer to see if there is some Elliott. Oh, you see the nice candle that happens. So remember, guys, with this scalping technique, we can make good profit, but we can get stopped out a lot. So you need to accept the fact that if the trade it's bad and you get stopped out, you make another trade. Why? Because the risk reward of the good trade are pretty high compared to the one that you lose. Okay. Yeah, I raised Elisa microphone. The team says Elisa was pretty low.
Okay,
So
good, good.
so I raised you quite a lot. Should be
All right, I'm
fine.
not as important as the events, so your voice should be louder.
What is it? Okay. See, what about now? Okay, so and we start to see some wave here, which are very important, because we can use Elliott wave and Fibonacci too in order to see a possible another leg up here. So I got 30 minutes. 30 minutes, so we start to see some little waves. 50 minutes, start to get more. Oh, this is Yotex, so the price is very it's very cheap coin, so that's why we see some those candles. They're not really nice one. I hate when we got those coins. They're worth nothing. So probably the percentages, let's check the percentages how they are, just to have an idea. Ta, 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 ta. So for example, this is just actually we can go lower here just to make an example of how much R we could get from a trade. Let's say the coin drops here and it bounced on this level. Just an example. I'm not saying there is a support there or whatever. If it bounces on this level and the coins goes up 4%, up to all-time high here, that will be with the stop loss just right below this low. This will be a 7.5 risk reward trade, which is a lot. So if you're risking one, you're gonna make 7.7 here. That means you can even lose 3 times this trade and still make lots of money on this one. So that's the idea of scalping. Just try to put a very tight stop loss. If you get stopped out, doesn't matter. You re-enter, you find a new trade. It's all about how many trade you can make. Of course, you gotta try to balance the bad and the good ones. Of course, we explain in the either in premium or in free channel that 50-50 it's a good balance if we aim for 3 reward. So 50% accuracy for a 3 risk reward, which is this one. It's a pretty good one if you make 100 trades in this case, and 50 are winners and 50 are losers. You double up your portfolio actually. So with a risk reward of 6, which is double of the previous, well, your portfolio would increase a lot if you keep doing a 50 accuracy between your trades. So Yotex. So let's see what I would do personally, and I mean Elisa probably disagree on this because I use Eginashi. It's finding some waves on it, and she might find the waves with the normal candlestick. I like to to use Fibonacci because it gives me a better better idea of the wave. Of course, this is 15-minute chart, so you might even go inside to check other waves. Would you how many waves would you count here?
I'd count 3.
Okay, we agree on that. So would you do like that? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't know
I
about the
wouldn't draw
one,
them,
right?
yeah, for scalping, I wouldn't draw them, and I wouldn't be so rigid. I think I'm particularly not rigid with the Elliott wave rules. I would just acknowledge that there's been 3 pushes, and one of the things in TA is if there's been 3 pushes, then normally you'll see some sort of a retracement after 3 pushes. So yeah, in this, I think I see those 3 pushes. So I would be conscious that you wouldn't necessarily. So, for example, the long position you've drawn there, I would be conscious that you may not get back to the high
Mm-hmm.
on this trade because you've had those 3 pushes. So that's
Yeah,
something I would.
yeah. Yeah, like expecting some kind of an ABC correction, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, let's move this screen. So, considering the last wave, the wave retraced about 78% if we, of course, trace from the pump here, from where it broke. But if we consider from the lowest point here, we have a perfect 70-70 bounce, which it's a bounce that we're constantly keep watching on and noticing in every single damn chart, which is, pretty important, I guess. So if we cut this coin on the drop, probably entering this coin on between 60 and 70% would have give us a good scalping trade. And we have some some resistances here. I would have probably, traced some horizontal line on the top of those spikes just to see possible bounces. I would have traced this one, and I would have traced this one, and just to have a more support in the chart. And the coin pretty much bounced exactly on the 70, but even on this previous high. So that's another way to find your support. And I mean, if now, for example, let's check the candles too. The candles had a nice pattern here at the downtrend, and then as you guys can see, a doji here that I can almost don't see the doji. Where is it? Oh yeah, because the 60-60 it's on. So if I wow, oh no, the line is on. So the price line is on this candle body, so you don't see the doji. But this doji candle can of course indicate a reversal trend if it's at the end of a downtrend. So this candle was right on 70-70, so that could have been a good scalp. Would you, Elisa, buy those scalping on a market buy or with a limit?
Limit.
With the limit.
You're,
Okay.
you're trying to get, I guess. So what I'd be doing is, that hits the top. I'd be looking at it coming down. I'd be looking at where the 70-70 was, and like you said, I'd be checking back the lines with previous resistance. I also drew a fib from the bottom of the 3 waves and the whole thing, and that's also exactly on the 50% retracement of the 3 waves.
Perfect.
So it's at a confluence of multiple things there, and I would be putting a buy order in at that point and watching for the bounce.
So would you
Also,
trace your fib from here, right, or from this?
well,
I,
I'm doing at the moment. I'm doing multiple.
yeah, I
No,
guess.
not
Yeah, I would do the same.
no. From the start of where we said wave 1 was.
Okay.
Um,
And this is a technique I use often too. Every time I can kind of see an Elliott wave, I trace the full retracement of the Elliott. And that helps a lot, to be honest. And in this case, you guys can see too, 50% retracements, as Elisa was saying, is the confluence of the Fibonacci, and hits exactly where our bounce is on 7070, right there, boom. So in this case, if we were, let's make an example here. Let's make this like that. So we trace this pattern here, and we have noticed three pushes that might not be three Elliott waves, but are still three waves, and every wave kind of had a little retracement. So probably the third push is the one that has the highest retrace in most cases. So if I trace some kind of three waves here, I'm expecting a bounce, a drop, sorry, a correction. This correction, where can it drop? Can drop to 50% or 70% of the last wave. So that's where we would have put our entry, our buy limit in this case, or buy order, or buy below order. Uh, so if we would place that order, sometimes you don't wanna get right on the 70, right? Because you might not get filled, so you wanna buy a little bit above it. And in this case, we would have put what? Just a buy limit at this level. Then we can figure it out, the target, and the stop loss really right below. Where would you put the stop loss, Elisa? Just right below 70 or just below 78?
No, I would go below 70. I wouldn't put it very deep at all.
Just below 70, just right there. So remember, this is scalping. If you get it, amen. Like, you go on another trade.
Yeah.
Of course, as you guys know, tighter is the stop loss, higher is the reward. And as you guys can see, let's move this rectangle. As you guys can see, my risk reward here, it's 7, because this is the tool you should use to show to have your risk reward. This is 7. Of course, as soon as I drop my stop loss, look, just a tiny below, my risk reward decreased to 4.767. If I decrease a little bit more, it becomes 3.7. So this is half, because my stop loss, of course, it's double than before. And of course, why you could have dropped the stop loss lower, because maybe you're scared that those candles high are really the support. But again, in scalping, you have to take your risk with a stop loss very tight. Okay, so in this case we have 70.70, we have 50. If we would have entered this trade right there, and we would have reached, let's say, this level, that for 2.5%, that would have been already 4R, so 4 reward. So if you invest, risk 1% of your portfolio, by reaching only 23% here, so you don't need to go all the way up, right? Because this is scalping, you don't need to go for 8. You can go for the basics, for your 3 reward that we do every time, 1, 2, 3, and you would get perfectly your target. Then what you can do, if you want, you can raise your stop loss. I mean, I won't suggest that because you're scalping. So as soon as you get your target that you fixed, you sell it, bam, and then you go on the next trade. Because remember, you're on the 5-minute chart, 50-minute chart. The volatility can screw you up very fast. So would you take profit here, at least on the 3, or would you keep? What's your strategy here? Would you raise your stop loss? What would you do?
No, well, I think if you had gone in at 70.7 on that first bounce, because there's 3 waves that you've already had, then I would think you should be looking at taking profits on the 38.2.
38.2.
or even the 50
Oh,
of
oh,
where
oh,
you were
38.2
aiming at.
of the small one.
Yeah,
This one, okay. So you remember Fibonacci levels helps you a lot, guys. So um, what I do, and probably Lisa does too, every time we trace our Fibonacci, we leave them there. I personally leave them there, so I know I have already some resistance levels already in the chart, and I can go by those. Of course, 38% here is a possible target as 50%, as 23, and as the whole time high. Then depends, how much you want to risk and how much you want to make. Of course, if you want to go for 7.7, good luck. If you reach there, you made a good trade. um, so this is just the trade. How could you have approached the trade by just using support and resistance levels and Fibonacci and a simple three-wave pattern? We didn't really look at volume too much while we were doing this trade. What else we could add on the trade? Well, probably some indicators. Would you add some indicators, Elisa, that could kind of help your bias?
yeah. I have a set of scalping indicators that I use, which include RSI, the stock, and something called CBIDX, which is a version of the RSI written by Constance Brown that people would have heard me talk about, because I'm a big fan of hers. Or sorry, actually, Lazy Bear wrote it for TradingView, but she obviously wrote the formula for this RSI, and it's just, I think it's more sensitive. I need to even learn it in more detail myself, but I actually find it really useful for divergence.
Hmm?
So I'm looking for divergence on the lower time frames and those sorts of things, or at least at this point I would be. So on that first bounce, you probably won't see divergence. It's just going to happen. That's people have their orders in already. That's the point. And I think, when you're saying, people say to me, oh, what Fibonacci should I use? Where should I fib from? And I say fib everything, and look for confidence.
It's true.
So I fib anything that looks reasonable. I'll fib from the breakout. If there's a triangle, I'll fib from the end of the triangle. I'll fib from the last bottom. I'll fib from the bottom of the entire three waves that we did. And then you're looking at the confluence of those with previous support resistance. Mainly because that's what everybody else is doing, and most people obviously will probably only do one of those. They won't necessarily like me do all of them. But the thing is, the people who are doing it have orders from where theirs has ended. So the
Hmm.
more confluent is, the more buy orders are going to be at that point.
Hmm.
So you're raising your probabilities of actually getting the bounce that you want at that point if everything aligns. So I'm now, again, like I say, I'm learning this, or learning what works and what doesn't as well. And I'm starting to think that maybe I shouldn't enter if there isn't that kind of confluence.
Hmm. Yeah, so and this is a very very good strategy. I mean, scalping. I'm not saying it's a best strategy. You guys know that I always said, I'm not a scalper, I'm not a scalper, I'm not a scalper, because it requires you to be on the chart all the time and just be very focused on every single indicator. Of course, me and myself, I ran the channel, so scalping every second of the day, it's kind of not easy for me, because I gotta manage many things and propose analysis to all the group, and not everybody can, of course, follow us live every day, right? So me posting scalping trade for the paying members, it's like ridiculous sometimes, because I can post a trade and then the coins goes up in 5 minutes and you're working or someone else is sleeping, so it's not really fair. But we are exploring those scalping trades, because we could maybe do some live trade together, um, and go from there. Maxi say Elisa's not good mic the volume. Um, is she loud? Is she loud? Or it's like I know our microphone. I can see a little bit of interference, but no, it's not really. It's not bad. I can totally hear her. What you guys saying? This is no good. Max said. Let's see what.
Yeah, not sure if that means too loud or too soft.
Yeah, yeah. No, because I can perfectly hear you now. No. See, they're typing. Both good. Well, crypto can hear us. Kev. You know, sometimes I find out that the headphones of people can screw up my audio. The other guy was saying, he was hearing cracks, crack. Are you say sounds,
Crackling. Yeah.
and the other guy was not like using with different headphones. So that was weird. Oh, Armstrong is in the chat. Hey, Harm. We might need some some ICT strategy. Oh, Elisa's gonna kill me now. Uh, Still patient waiting. Oh, okay, so well, this trade, if you know you're trading Elliott waves, um, hoping, not hoping, like I would probably wait for an ABC correction. ABC correction can be different, and we really don't know um, what kind of ABC might incur in this trade. Most of the time, the ABC it's a zigzag one, so it might reach probably below here where we have 70-70, or I mean it can totally bounce here and make what is called a flat ABC. But the coin, it did a nice a nice pump here, so it probably needs to correct a bit. Again, that's the tough part of scalping, because every single level that we have here, 50, 61, 71, 71, are all possible bounce. So it might fail here and go to 60, might fail and go to 70, and so on. That's really hard to tell when it's gonna bounce. That's why scalping might be hard for some. This is not crocante. Okay. Yeah, so we were talking about indicator. Let's see if some indicator might help us to figure it out if this coin might drop from here more than this. So RSI it's 1. Oh, I already have indicators here. This 15-minute chart, probably we will go to 5 minutes to have a better idea if we're scalping that close. Okay. Okay, Mark says sounds great. But Vincent Elisa, seriously, Chrome browser fix all issue for buffering and sound. Issue hearing, Vincent Elisa. Okay. Yeah, everyone is suggesting Chrome browser. Well, yeah, that's the one I use. In my opinion, is the best one. We use Chrome, Elisa.
Yeah, I do.
It is the best in my opinion. That solved many things. Why, even when trading and stuff. By the way, the 5-minute chart. I'm a MACD guy. Elisa, not. She's a RSI girl. So if I analyze MACD, there was a bullish cross that we were having almost at zero. So that could have probably kept our bounce that we select here going up. So there was a little kind of help there. But of course, MACD, it's a delayed kind of indicator, so it's pretty delayed. So as you can see, the bounce up in here and then it shows the bullish cross. So it's because of two moving averages, and as big moving averages, this indicator it lags a bit. While the RSI, what RSI could have told us here?
Well, I think you need to shorten your settings.
Oh, 27.
I think I've got 7 or 8 on it. Yeah. Actually, I know on my scalp I've got 5 at the moment. But yeah, normally I use 7 or 8.
Okay. So,
For anyone listening, the if you shorten the RSI settings, it makes it more sensitive and you'll see more extreme movement. But then you also risk getting more false signals.
perfect.
So yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of play around with every indicator should be your indicator. Like you kind of have to test it, practice, use different settings, and try to see what's the best settings for you. 5 can be very volatile, as you guys can see. Look how the RSI gets oversold and overbought many times compared if I put like 10. In the 10, it doesn't really show us any over sold level. That's why Elisa is saying to increase that to 5. Let's see what 7 looks like. 7 almost touched that 30 level, so this could be another good one. So, and right now, as you guys can see, RSI it's bouncing on that level on 30. So by looking at the RSI right now, a bounce might happen. Just looking at the RSI, MACD it's low, but again, it's um, it's a lagging indicator. So the cross that we'll see later on if this coin goes up, and then I have here double T cross that it's almost it's almost like a stochastic stock. Let's see stock. You prefer stock or stock RSI?
Stock.
Okay, let's leave it stock. In stock, it's pretty low right now. So we have a 1-2 indicator on the 5-minute chart that are not bad. MACD, to follow, and WT cross really it's pretty low compared to all the spike that it did. But again, this ABC correction might lower our prediction, our odds, just because we might think the C might drop down. So in this case, if you bought the 70%, you make your trade. Instead of risking this, if you want, again, you can place another order at this level. If it goes up, you make some money. If not, you might want to buy lower, or you find another trade. So just for what do you say?
So what I do at this point is look at the order books.
Okay, can do that.
So you're coming up to a second bounce. People who are scalping this and watching the chart will be looking to see if there's going to be another bounce at the same level, or like you see, will it make a higher low like it's done now just above, or that's what it's trying to do. So I'd be looking at the order books and seeing, like, so if you can get
Yeah,
the
I'm
price.
going there.
So at the moment we can see at 313, the current price is 315, and we can see at 313 there's 3.8 Bitcoin, and at 312 there's 4.4 Bitcoin. So there's a fair
Yotex
chance it's going to
BTC.
bounce at this level.
Okay, I'm bringing the Binance chart here. I'm not logged in, so you guys don't see that I'm millionaire. Okay, just kidding. Um, okay, here I got this for you. So what were you saying? Sorry, so people might follow here in the order book.
So you can see there on the left at 313 and 312, you've got 3.8 Bitcoin and 4.4 Bitcoin.
Yeah, those order here.
Yeah, so they're reasonable size orders.
Okay.
You can see that there's probably a whale down at 304, 303 because the two orders that are pretty much exactly the same size. I say a whale, it's only 2.25 Bitcoin, but that's whale size for
Mm-hmm.
IOST. And similarly, you can also look at the sell orders. There isn't really a big sell order until 329. So, you've got a bit of capacity to go back up. And you can also note that 329 is right one sat below previous high.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just interesting things to note on the books about where your next levels of support and resistance are very short term.
So for those of you that are really new to this, and you know even myself, when I just started, I really didn't know what the order book was. So for those one that not really familiar, those are the orders that traders are putting. Those are the people that want to buy the coin, and those are the people that want to sell the coin. And you guys can see um, um, the bet, right? These guys wants to buy 315, 314, 313, 312, and those guys want to sell at 316, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So when I can directly buy from an order if I want, right? I can buy 316, I can buy 317, and I will buy directly into the order, or I can place, of course, a buy limit, and my buy limit will go in the order book. So by following this order book, 313 and 312 have a massive buy pressure, right? For BTC, this is the amount in BTC, as you guys can see, total BTC. This is the coin, the amount of coins. So 1,400,000 coins. So we can see on the IOTAX, whatever it's called, 313 here, and we say 312, 314,
14 and 13. Oh,
13
sorry,
and
no,
12,
13 and
13 and
12.
12. Okay,
13 and 12.
so 13 and 12 right there. So because those orders are at this level, how would you consider our entry? Would you buy right on those orders, or for you this entry is still great?
No, you're looking probably at jumping in ahead of them
Ahead
because
of
you
them,
won't.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you stick an order in, I mean, you might get lucky, and if somebody dumps into the
Oh
first
yeah,
wall,
yeah, okay, okay.
then maybe you can get at the end of the first wall. But
You might
the whole
pump and you
point,
might get skipped, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So what you really want to be doing is trying to jump in ahead of them. The other thing I should probably point out as well is looking at the actual trade history on the right-hand side of the Binance chart. So if you can go back to that. So the other thing I'd be looking at is here so you've just seen a 317 and a 316 pop up,
Yeah.
just move the price up. But I'd be looking also, what you quite often see here are lots of bots going through. And when there's a low sat coin, and particularly if it's got a bit of a spread between buy and sell prices, you can sometimes see bots they're almost simulating interest, because they'll put in a one sat order, buy, for example, or sell, but more often probably buy. They'll
Hmm.
put in not a one sat, a one IOST buy, um, to push the price up and make it look like it's moving up, so other people jump in.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
so now it looks pretty even at the moment. We just saw a couple of big orders jump in on the buy side, but before that, there were a couple of bigger ones on the sell side. So it's just, again, something that's worth looking at for extra information about what the buyers and sellers are doing.
So I'm gonna ask a question now. That maybe everybody. No, it's easy question. No, no, no. Because probably everybody would be interesting. How fake those buy could be in your opinion? Like, is there a
Um,
chance, of course, that those orders can be just fake walls, right?
I would say in this instance it's unlikely. It's
Unlikely.
possible, it's always possible, but I think normally fake buy walls I find really obvious. and normally you'll see them at the top of a run. So, for example, yesterday I saw on one of my monitors, I could see a lot of WTC buy walls. So this monitor says to me buy wall on whatever coin of whatever size it was, and there were sort of 51 Bitcoin buy walls on WTC. So, and I knew, I didn't look at WTC, but I knew from other volume monitors that had been going up throughout the day. So what you'll see is those buy walls, and they're kind of when they can see the run is coming to an end, the buy walls go in, and again, people think there's interest, they jump in front, but all the buy walls are trying to do is just keep the price up while they sell. So you tend to see those walls at the top of a trend, and they tend to be a lot bigger. So a coin like IOST with 4 and 3 Bitcoin to me is probably just people who put buy orders on fibs. But I could be wrong. That would just be that's my opinion. So anybody else might have a different view.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like we of course need to being scalpers. You guys, everyone needs to like focus on many things at the same time, because scalping is not easy. We need to really pay attention and focus all your energy on many different things at the same time. So regarding, and I was just saying this regarding the walls, because you guys should know that in crypto there are fake walls. So just to give a quick definition, fake walls are just buy orders placed from whales or from just people that want to simulate a possible pump. So I can place a buy here all those coins and then remove my order. Why I do that? Well, because you wanna maybe pump the coin. If I put the massive buy walls, massive buy orders here, people might think, oh shit, the coin is gonna pump. There's walls. So people buy the coin and then they just get rid of the walls and they probably sell their coins. So it's a way to keep pushing the price or keep the price up while maybe selling on the other side with small orders. That's a way to.
There is one other thing to note on that as well, though, that because we're scalping, it actually doesn't matter that much because we're doing the same thing. Like we're not jumping in because we're seeing green candles. We're not new traders. We're not seeing green candles and a big wall and thinking, oh yeah, loads of people are interested in buying and jumping in, expecting higher highs. All we're doing is jumping in, probably expecting a fib bounce to the net between two fibs.
Yeah.
So if that's what it achieves, be it fake or real, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Yeah, just a definition of wall in general. So those you think those walls are more important when we really consider big time frames, I guess.
Yeah.
um Sorry, I was joking. Um, would you consider placing a stop loss based on those buy orders or not?
Yeah,
Like, would you place, of course, stop loss below those buy orders?
Yeah.
Okay, that's another good technique. You really don't want to put the stop loss on the buy order. This guy is gonna buy many coins there. If you notice that, you might want to put the stop loss just below those buys, and
And the same for take profit.
What do you say? Sorry.
Same for take profit. You want to put your take profit slightly below the walls so you can get out before the
Below
others do.
walls. Okay. So in this case, we have. I mean, we don't have a big ones. We have this one at 160. Sorry, at 319 we have a 1 Bitcoin 0.60 order. So this means that if you put your order at 320, so just above it, you might not get filled because this guy is selling, the price might drop there. So in this case, would be good to put a sell order before this guy, but you need to know like about 318, but you need to know, of course, if you're gonna make money off of that trade. If you place at 318, so if you place a sell at 318, in this case, we would do what? 0.75 with our stop loss, so it's not really, it's not really worth to take the trade at this point because we are risking 1 point, how much, yeah, 0.75. So we're risking 1 to make 0.75, so that's not a great trade. So or you make your stop loss either, and you risk it, or you gotta find another option if you're going, with this buy, with this wall selling wall strategy thing. But 1.8, I mean, is, would you consider this as a big wall for this scalping that we're doing or not?
Um, you need to, so how many? 573,000. Looking at
1.82.
the order books, no, not really, because you're seeing orders go through of 20, 30, 50, 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only looking at about, I don't know, 10 to 20 orders to get rid of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it might hover there for a bit, but unless another big seller comes in,
Mm-hmm.
then what I expect with this coin now is it's probably going to hover around this level for a little while until somebody comes in with a big order in one direction or another.
Mm-hmm.
We're fairly even on both sides, slightly bigger on the buy side. If you look at the actual depth chart, you can see it's bigger because of those bigger walls. But
Oh, on the
uh,
depth chart, okay, yeah.
the second bounce is always slightly more nerve-wracking. Like, really, you want to be getting in on the first bounce, getting out, and
Mm-hmm.
then keeping an eye on it now. But
Mm-hmm.
like now, yeah, like I say, I think we might hang here for a while, and then it's entirely possible that we'll go back to 307,
Mm-hmm.
306, where those other two walls are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this trade, I did these things, and we catch on the first bounce. If we make our trade, that's good. And then again, because there is this possible drop of ABC, and anyways, that we might drop. But again, if you want to take the risk,
Yeah.
that's the risk.
It's
You
possible.
you
I mean,
know you
it's
know how much risk you're gonna take if you want to take this this trade that can go up, could go up. But again, you gotta make all your research and analysis before to enter it. um,
But you can look how slow moving it is as well. Like, it's not a particularly risky trade.
yeah.
Even if you jumped in now at 316, 317, if it drops to 315, just sell you straight out. Like, you don't have to be as formal as stop lossing like below walls and things like that. Even like if you just want to jump in and give it a shot, it's not, it's not a horrendous trade.
Yeah.
And then back up again then.
And yeah, yeah, and you guys, if you watch this video later on, you might learn many things. We're talking about scalping, but those are little things that you should know when you do your normal trading. Understand the order book, understand the market depth. The market depth is, of course, a representation of those number in this chart, as you guys can see, and you guys can see the actual walls. That's why we call them walls directly on the graphic here. What else we can say here?
I think it's
Well,
worth talking about Bollinger Bands.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
sorry, if you're down on the depth chart anyway. I think we probably covered most of that.
Yeah, and I mean, for just the newbies, remember those orders, of course, are accumulation of many orders at the same time. Just to make things clear, because someone is very new might not know. So these 319, they can be 20 people that put the order at 319. That's why there is such a big value, or that can be just one guy that put their order. So you really don't know. Okay, let's go back on our IOTEX, and it's actually going a little bit,
Yeah, a little bit.
So let's check quickly our indicator. What are they doing? our our stock cross and it's below, and it's kind of going up, so that might go up and keeping making this trade a good one. This WT cross indicator just crossed, making the candle yellow. That's why it's yellow. So for people that are probably wondering why the candle is yellow. It just this indicator. If I remove this indicator, the candles oop, don't are not even yellow or green. But when this indicator is on, it will color the candle compared to the cross. So if there is a cross, so the green line crosses the red from below, it's a bullish cross, and the candle will be yellow. In the other way, if there is a bearish cross like this, the candle will be blue, but here it's just a doji, so you like don't see that. Here there is an example. If there is a red dot and a red cross, you have a blue candle. So it's just another tool to like check while maybe you're not looking at the indicator. If you don't look at the indicator and you look at the chart, you might see, oh yeah, there's a yellow candle here. That means there was a cross on the W cross indicator, and so on. So yeah, we have many indicators that we can use. Of course, try to simplify your trading. That's really a good tip that I would like to give you guys. Don't make things too complicated. Stick on simple things. If you're trading resistance and support, try to focus on that. Add a few indicators, and that's it. But don't trade them all, because otherwise, I mean, in my opinion, then Elisa might say her view. If you have a millions indicator, you're never gonna be able to enter a trade because you're gonna find a bearish indicator every time. What do you think?
Um, at the moment, I'm using quite a lot because I'm trying to learn what works and what doesn't. And most people who are in the group will know that I'm really, really analytical. So I think it just depends on what kind of person you are. Some people get overwhelmed with using too many indicators and then start panicking that one's bullish and the other one's bearish. Where I have a sort of system where I look at many things fewer on the scalping timeframes, but just in general with charting, I look at an awful lot of indicators. But I look at them in groups, and I'll quickly discard if one or two of that group are bearish and the rest are bullish. Then to me, the whole thing is bullish.
Hmm.
So, and
Okay.
then of my 4 or 5 different groups, also so 3 or 4 of them will be bullish and the other couple bearish, and then so overall I'm bullish. So I don't get bogged down with but the MFI was bearish if everything else is bullish.
Hmm.
Um, so I think there's things like that. But the other thing is for me now, like with scalping, I'm just testing. So I'm testing where's best to put the fibs, where I'm testing, like I said to you earlier, about projecting where price might get to using fibs on the small time frames and using the 70.7. Like I'm just testing different things out, and that's what everybody should do. You should back
Yeah, yeah,
test.
yeah, and
Um,
that's how we're doing right now. We're testing, guys. So, we're just having a discussion so you guys can follow and learn from how we try to research new methods and stuff. So,
yeah.
and
The only other thing I would comment is on that the MACD, and also from what you showed me with your WT,
mhm,
whatever it's called, indicator, the new indicator you're using. Like to me, those indicators are just too lagging for scalping.
mhm,
I think I mean, I'm not a fan of them anyway, so I'm obviously not the best person to ask. But those and EMA crosses and things like that are fine for giving you confirmation on a large time frame. If you're trading 4 hour, you're trading a day. Um, Things cross over, it's confirmed that the trend's changed, and you jump in and you plan on staying in that trade for days, weeks, months,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Moving
Yeah.
average, yeah, are lagging
For
indicators.
me here,
So
when you're
just
looking for two,
confirms.
3%,
Mhm.
the cross has happened and it's already come back down again.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
like you guys can see here, for example, there is a cross of M10 and M20. That it's a bearish cross, but of course the price is already dropping, so that's a lagging indicator right there. So
mm.
that's what Elisa was just talking about, for example. Let's see the Bollinger Bands were telling us here. The Bollinger Band, actually, let me remove the chemo out. Bollinger Bands is actually can be a good scalping indicator, but can give us every fucking indicator a false signals too. Because for example, I don't know if I can find in the chart right now. you know, the idea is to sell when it's out the Bollinger Bands, and to buy when the trend is out the Bollinger Bands below the bands, right? In this case, look at our A pointer that we select before. It's the wick goes out the Bollinger Bands. Let me remove my Fibonacci. You guys can see this was a perfect buy based on just Bollinger Bands, for example. And when we would have sell probably here, where the trend it's Bollinger Bands and goes outside the bands. Now here for a good entry, if the trend would have went out Bollinger Bands, probably would have been a better entry, but it didn't. I mean, it got close to them, and but not quite went. I don't really want to say oversold, but you know, out the bands probably is a better term. But you guys can see here how many times the trend goes out the bands. So that's why I'm saying can be tricky. Okay, so you guys don't just focus on Bollinger Bands to make your entry and exit. What do you have to say about Bollinger Bands, Elisa? Anything to add?
Well, so I don't just use what you've got there is the default setting for Bollinger Bands for TradingView. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's based on 2 standard deviations. So what
Yeah.
I do, I have an indicator that I wrote, but I'm sure you can find other ones on TradingView anyway, which combines Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels, although I don't use the Keltner channels for scalping or not at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
What it does have in it is it has Bollinger Bands for the second standard deviation and the third standard deviation.
Okay.
So if you
Oh, at the
can,
same time. Okay.
yeah, so it's worth, if you can add a second indicator on there, a second Bollinger Band indicator on your chart,
Mm-hmm.
and you can compare the two of them.
Okay. So yeah, so Bollinger Bands have as settings, of course, and you know, standard deviation here it's a tweak that you can do. Tweak? Can you say tweak? You can tweak it. Um, is the right word tweak?
Tweak.
Tweak. So
Tweak.
if the standard deviation, you increase the standard deviation to 3, the Bollinger Bands gets wider, as you guys can see, and might give you less false breakouts. But at the same time, might not give you a soul, and you know, the trend might not go out the bands. For example, here our point A, it's inside the bands if we consider standard deviation 3, so you wouldn't give us a buy signals, but consider standard deviation 2, yes it would. So what Elisa does as an indicator that does both at the same time, or if you want, she was suggesting you can add 2 Bollinger Bands indicator, right? That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
And set up 1 to standard deviation 2 and 1 to standard deviation 3, and then you know, have a both that can and use both at the same time to have a better understanding what's happening. So if you're let's see, you can find good one, like this is not a really great analysis. I mean, this is for sure a selling point. It goes out the Bollinger Bands either on the 2 standard deviation and on the 3. It dropped, and then it was a good sell, but then it went up again. So this was the one. I know. Oh, this is there is a little Elliott wave, a sub wave inside our 1, 2, 3. You guys can see the main wave, and this was probably a good Elliott just because there is some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside that the main wave, which is probably this one right there. And then there is ABC or whatever. Let's see if Ekinashi tells us a little bit more. Like, you know, I switch with Ekinashi just because I can see the waves a little bit better sometimes. It can be this, can be that. Anyways, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's pretty cool to see that sometimes, and that reinforce your idea of Elliott wave. That's why, you know, it was a good sell here. Then you buy on the retrace if you want, and you go to 5, and then you sell. based on Fibonacci extension, everything we're trying to teach you guys every day in the premium. So, anyways, let's try to see if we can catch another one. I think we talk a lot about IOTEX, and we see that's kind of a risky. This trade is bouncing, but it's not the best scalp to do at the moment. Let's see if we can find with other tools. Would you use the heat map volume on 1 hour to maybe see some coins that are like active?
We've talked about this. I don't think this is volume
Mm-hmm.
anyway. I know it's sorted by volume, but that's point performance. I've been more inclined to use one of the volume monitors. So
Let's see whether the coins show up. I'm just curious. Ba, ba, ba. 1 hour performance volume. Like this is the size of the square, of course. It's how much volume the coin has, right? Compared to MCO, probably. Look, we're not really sure about it, right? Volume 24 hours 17, and MCO volume 4 hour 7. So I mean the sides of the square shows the volume 24 hours. That's what it shows, right? Power, volume, 24 hours, 17 million. And MCO, 7 million. And BAT, 7 million. Yeah, so MCO and BAT are exactly the same because the volume in 24 hours is the same. Of course, this doesn't tell us how much the volume has increased, I guess. Change 1 hour, because if you guys can see, the percentage is just the percentage change of the price, is not the volume. So even though I'm checking here the volume performance, the percentage is not the volume, but is the price, and the square here, the rectangle, is the actual volume, the total volume in 24 hours. What if I put this power and BAT? What if I put 1 day performance and I go check power? Actually see power, it changed 24 hours. Okay, so it's still the price change. Okay, power has just the same volume 24 hours 17 million. Storage 21 million, but storage doesn't show up in the 1 hour. 1 hour doesn't show up. See, that's what I'm trying to like figure it out. See, storage doesn't show up on 1 hour here. So what that means? Can we get some from it?
it just means it had higher volume over the last 24 hours, but not much in the last hour.
Not much in the last hour. So then we might consider power still good in volume. So then could there be a reason for us to go look at power for a good scalp or not?
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Not familiar with the tool and using it in this way.
Yeah. Just let's see what power is doing, just to have an idea.
Power
Actually,
wouldn't be
power
great.
yeah, it pumped yesterday, right?
Yeah, it had that massive pump, so it's kind of reacting off that. So, but because when it's had such an orchestrated pump like that, I don't think the indicators are
Yeah. Look
useful.
at those weeks, down,
Um,
up. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
it's not organic.
Yeah, someone pumped the shit up power. So when those things happen, we don't really wanna go check those things. Um, and for scalping, I guess coins with higher market cap probably are better than low cap, right?
Not necessarily. I just think that it just needs to be organic. It's not. It needs to have by interest by multiple people across a period of time. That would be what I'm looking for if we're looking for the rising coins rather than the ones in the channels. The ones in the channels maybe are right. You want a higher market cap because you don't want it just to sit there and do nothing for days. But yeah, I think low cap move. So they don't take as much effort to move. So you'll get those kind of nice bounces that you want to get off a fib.
Yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah, right. Because yeah, we might have a massive market cap like Ion and uh, Wabi have not been moving for 2 weeks. Um, but I mean, let's see Wabi. Actually, Wabi was doing that channel for a long time. Like this channel here, this was probably a good scalping channel.
I think it's quite low volume though, isn't it, Wabi?
What do you say?
Isn't Wabi quite low volume?
Yeah, it's been dropping.
Yeah,
It
65
pump
Bitcoin,
on
it's
that
very low.
thing. Just hit our first target there, and then boom. Probably all crypto Vince channels sold here. uh, yeah, volume is terrible on this one, and there are many spikes. The drop up. Let me put number candles. But again, if you're scalping on 5-minute chart, let me remove this for a second. This channel, of course, it's a massive channel. So even though we go on 5-minute chart, this channel really might make no sense. I mean, if we buy a low here, if we buy low and then we go on the 5-minute chart and we start to scalp this way up, that probably can be a nice a nice trade, a nice situation where we could scalp something. Let me.
You can, but on a 4 hour chart,
No,
that's
no, 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 for sure. I'm saying,
yeah,
we identify the channel on the 4 hour, and then we go in 5 minutes to see what if you could make good trades starting from the bottom and go the way up. 12%. So let's check if, because the market is not really moving too much today.
have a look at RLC.
Yeah, just checking on coins that are going up, are in uptrend, but not really pumping like crazy. And I mean, there's a nice pump here.
Well, I think this is worth mentioning for people who are trying to get into coins as well, even not just for scalping. Like if you take that down to a lower time frame and you look at the build up to this candle.
1 hour.
Um,
Would you wanna go?
anyway. Oh well, I was down on the 5 minute then, but
Oh, okay. For scalping or for normal trading?
well, for kind of scalping or normal trading, but just for jumping into a coin as well. Yeah, you
Oh,
can use
okay,
those
okay, okay. Yeah,
techniques
yeah, yeah.
that we've used. Again, people should be discouraged, obviously, from jumping into these massive green candles. Yes, you can see in the middle of your chart there, it did pause, but um, you don't want to be jumping in on a pause like that because it's too high risk.
Mm-hmm. And you guys can see there are some waves at the bottom here. And you can check what the waves did, and you can kind of trace some Fibonacci just to see overall how they're bouncing. So you can practice to how to trace some Fibonacci. This one bounced on 50%. This other one bounced on 38%, as you can see twice. And then this other one bounced on 38% again. So as you guys can see, 38%, look how many times it bounced here, right? So again, this is an example of different bounce, 50%, 30%, 38%, and the coin is an uptrend. Then he broke this flat top, almost a very small one. I really won't consider that, but broke this resistance and went massively high there. um yeah, it's not suggested to enter coins that had those pretty good spikes. That's a 13% in like no time. But if we would have wanted to do a high risk trade on this one, look at the indicator, pretty high at the moment. So for a scalping, entering right here, it's very high risk. I mean, RSI is dropping. This is RSI 7. Let's put 7. Let's make it more. 7, it's almost there. 50% bounce. We really don't have previous support that we can see if we got something there. We got some, but it's dropping below those support there. Yeah, actually this is right now is acting as a resistance. Those previous high at this level, they're acting as a resistance. So the coin hit there and is dropping. So it's probably not great for our scalping technique at this point. Look at all the indicator at the hour, they're very very high. RSI on the moon and stochastic too dropping, hit resistance. So if we want to enter this trade, we have to really wait for a pretty good retrace.
So I've been looking for a bounce at around 780 or
780 on the 50% or on the, or on the 70. I mean, it bounced here.
normally I would look at the 70, but it's
It's a risky
again,
trade.
no, not because it's a risky trade, but just because it's been a really impulsive trade, it might bounce higher.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just theories I'm testing.
10 minutes pretty high. 15 minutes indicator, 5 minutes almost there. Up. Oh,
And also because it's back now at that level of those previous resistances,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible you'll see a bounce here. But this again, you've been checking the books.
Mm-hmm.
Check
And
it.
there.
A lot of bots on this, but there's still more buy orders going through than sell orders here.
Mm-hmm. Let's check on this coin how how is moving, just to understand what some coins can actually do. 50% retracement trace from here, from the start of the spike. Act as a resistance here a little bit for 3 candles. 1, 2, 3. Which one? The one broke and closed below, and then pew, broke all the way up. So this 50% is doing something. Let's see what's going on here. So if you would have placed a buy there on 50%, put the stop loss just right below. Let's see what would have happened in this case. Just right below. Let's see if it would have got hit. Indicators, again, we said on this trade are not the best. Except RSI on 5 is getting pretty low. This is for a 2 or a 3 times risk reward. Let's add some indicators. See, Bollinger Bands, they're not really the best at this point. Do you like to trade at the center line of the Bollinger
Yeah,
Bands?
yeah. very much so. I think quite often you'll see a bounce off that median. Again, what you're looking for is confluence. So you're looking at the fib. I'd probably have a couple of fibs drawn on here, like IOTICs as well.
Mhm.
But you're looking at the fib, you're looking at the bands, you're looking at confluence of that with support and resistance, like the point you just noted. I'd be looking at the candles in the previous area, which we're slightly below now, so that hasn't held up. But I'd be looking at confluence of all those things. Yeah, the median of the Bollinger Bands can be really good.
The middle of Bollinger Bands, I think it's MA20 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's an M20. It matches up perfectly with M20, the one that I put here. So it's just a M20 indicator pretty much. So let's just set up an alert while we will look for other points. Just an alert here. And an alert here. So in our opinion, this is not totally the best scalping you can do, but again, remember, with scalping, you need to do many trades at the same time. I mean, not at the same time, sorry, many trades, and at the end come up with a good risk reward and profit of your portfolio. APPC, what is doing? I don't like it. This already went up, dropping. I mean, it's bouncing here, those levels. This 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart. Oh, the Bollinger Bands here kind of going, the spike kind of went out. Some people bought it right there. Let's just check a Fibonacci of this trade. Almost on 50%. Yeah, those coins are all on big resistances, so it's tricky. It's tricky to find a good scalping gear. I rather find stuff at the bottom that it's bouncing. Oh, see, it's very high. It's APPC. Like it's trying to break. Of course, if you break it, we're good. But I rather buy below here and ride these things up if I had to scalp instead of just risking at those level here. Kind of hold time eye on this time frame here. Ins. Any other good coin that I have noticed?
Nothing for me right now.
Let's see for ins. Ins is not looking bad here. Um, full of wicks. Let's see. Let's see what kind of fib there is. So if we make a first overall fib, bounced on 61%, and this one doesn't really tell us too much. Of course, I will consider making other Fibonacci. Probably one from here I would trace. Would you trace one from here, Lisa?
Um,
Or from here?
yeah, I would again do both and see what works.
Mhm. This one, it's a 78 bounce. And if I go below here, it's our famous 70-70. So both case, if I trace this and if I trace that, or if I trace both, we have a pretty good bounces, which is 70-70 or 78, and we have a massive candle there. There, it's going up. There's a double spin top here, bounced on 70-70, which is a good candle that indicates a possible pump from there, and probably the best buy would have been on 70-70 and a scalp from there. It's pretty high right now, but let's go check closer and see if these things can keep going. So this is of course the daily chart, just to have an overall idea. I dropped the 4 hour just to see how everything is going. Look, indicator on the 4 hour, pretty high. 1 hour high. 15 minutes high. Everything is high here. No, I don't really like this one. Pretty high everything is kind of in FOMO mode here on the last with that big candle here. So, or we wait for a retracement here of this candle. See if anyone is asking question. No, they're watching.
You can look at mana because that's starting to get some volume.
Mana.
Yeah.
Let's see what mana is look like. I mean, and the problem with scalping is that, I mean, there are so many up and downs in every single coin that it might look like you can really scalp every coin at the end if you focus. Because the up and downs, for example, in this just little part, look how many there are. So it might become hard to find the good coin to scalp sometimes, because the up and downs are really all over the place.
Well, I don't know. That to me is. Vince, I've got an echo again. Can you change your microphone?
Oh, lower a bit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, if you can see on those two waves, they both like that first one looks like a 70-70 retracement.
Oh, this is mana. Yeah. It's between 70 and 70. Oh no, 70-70. Perfect. Yeah.
I think it's been worth, these ones are also worth being conscious of. It's popping up on the volume monitor. It's up to 15 pings. And it's moved already and it's at resistance, so it's kind of a bit of a tough one. You've got to see if it comes back down again from here. These ones, yeah, it's using exactly the same techniques for entries, like you can use them for scalps and bounces, but these are ones, so unlike IOTIX where we saw the 3 waves already, this one, for example, there's only been 2 and it looks like we're starting the final one now. So it's good to look for entries, like can you go on that final wave and look for a 5-minute entry just in case it takes off.
So it's been trying to break 1, 2, 3, 4 times this resistance.
So again, maybe you'd go and look at the order books on something like that.
Mana. See what's going on here. So we have a buy wall here, no massive one. 0.51 and 33 right on it. There are some sell here, sell orders. Will be higher. Not too much movement in the history.
Is there any walls? Is there a wall at that point?
What you say, sorry?
Is there a wall at that level on the books, a sell wall?
At what level?
At the level, at the price level it's at now, really, because it's at the top of the descending wall.
Yeah,
ascending
there are
triangle.
two little walls, 0.30 and 0.51 on 19 to 19. On the right on the price, 219 to 18.
No, I meant sell walls, keeping it down.
Oh, sell walls. No,
Yeah.
no. Just just above it, 32, 38.
But those are they big buy walls there? No, they're not. They're quite small. Yeah, this very possibly could break resistance.
Hmm. Right there, it's trying to break. Well, this would probably be a scalping on a buy stop, right? On the break, or you would wait for the retracement. Kind of.
Yeah.
Like buy on the break.
Well, you'd have to be quite careful of the wicks.
Yeah. Let's see what
Ideally you want a retracement, but you probably missed all your last opportunities now.
or just buy at this level and just put a stop loss below if you believe that those orders will push the price up, I guess, right?
Yeah. Possible. Just looking at the 4 hour though, there are some wicks that go quite a bit higher, so you'd have to check those out around the 1300 mark. Scroll up. Yeah, there's 6 Bitcoin at the 1300 mark. So it's going to need quite a lot more volume to get past 1300. So if you scalp this to like 12.99, say, you'd look at your risk return for that. So say you bought now and went to 12.99, 12.95, and then you literally just put a stop. I don't know.
Oh, okay, up there. Right.
Those walls. So if you put a stop at 12.17 right under those walls.
Okay.
12.17.
Okay. Just below the walls here. It's 12.17.
Yeah. That's still a 7 times risk return.
So let's try to see what it looks like. So if we, let's say, buy, we buy right now, or we buy just a little bit below when we were talking about it. Now we had the little pump there. 217. Are the walls again? 219. So we put the stop loss just below 217.
Yeah.
And in order to do a 2 reward, we just need the price to go there. But of course we say this has some massive wicks on the 4 hour, so it could be even a 3 reward risk ratio if we buy at this level.
Yeah.
So that's another idea.
There's a few options, but even to the most recent wick a few days ago, that's around 12.78, 12.80. Yeah, there's options, but this is something that
that's another kind of strategy, like buy on the break or whatever. If it's something that's very high, you're not buying on the support. That's another idea.
But these are my preference. Like I prefer this chart to the RLC chart that we just looked at because it's moving more slowly.
Okay.
So yes, you might get a sudden breakout, and great, then you're already in it.
See? Break it.
But it's not likely to an alert on the target. Um, um,
So
yeah, it's a pretty slow moving trade. It's got regular volume coming in. It's not like RLC where you're trying to jump in on a massive candle that could dump at any second. Let's see what RLC's done now.
mhm.
Um,
So in this case, we would have, bought it right there, and what do you say? Sorry, the indicator, which one?
no, I was just looking back at RLC that we were looking at a
Oh,
second
okay.
ago to see what that wick's done. Well, those giant green candles are obviously a lot more risky to try and jump into.
And then you
But yeah,
guys have, I mean, I have my tool here. If you have I think if you have just a basic subscription, you can have a different flag here. You can flag your scalping coins and maybe then go look at them after. RLC. Oop. So you guys can see here, this is our trade, right? If we enter a 50 right there, and we were aiming for that trade. Well, right now, I mean, if you would have aimed for 3R, we would have made this trade perfectly, right? Yeah, we entered there and we got hit right there, and that's a 3R trade. That's a pretty good scalp right there. And keep in mind, guys, scalping doesn't mean you're making less money than. Oh, my phone is talking. I'm saying scalping is not really giving you less money. I mean, it's just more focus you need to put in, and you need probably be a better trader than buying stuff for the long term. Because sometimes buying bags and hold for long times that might make you look like a good trader, but maybe you're just an investor, or maybe you get lucky. I don't know. There are few things that that I might say about people that buy and suggest to hold the coin for a long time, because the coins can down 50%, and then after 3 months the coin is up 300%, and you're like, oh, you see, I told you. I made 300% on this coin. When compared to scalping it's more a technical skill. You need to have technicals. You need to know TA if you want to scalp. Otherwise, you don't do it. Like if you don't know RLCs, I mean, yeah, our RLC is pumping, so you either take out there, or if you want to raise your stop loss to, I don't know, 2, and just maybe take your chance to go up, and if you get hit, you're still making 2. That's another way. Raise your stop loss here, and we'll see how we go. Let's make this example. Again, we suggest to take profit, or the other idea is to take just a part of your profit and let the coin ride if you want. And this coin is going, and let's see if we reach 6R. But this can be a pretty exciting kind of scalping, because it's pretty fun. Of course, it's fun when you get the trades. It's not
yeah,
fun
it's
when
fun
you
when they
get.
bounce. When they bounce, when you think they're going to bounce, it's less fun when they don't, or when they die and
Yeah.
do something
And
boring.
the psychology and the emotions, as we always say, are tough to deal with. And when you get stopped out, there is always the emotion of pissed or fuck, I got stopped out. And I'm not saying that I can deal with it too much, because I'm the first one that when I get stopped out, it's just in your in your, how you say, in your brain, in your heart, to get pissed. It's normal. But
Yeah,
if you can deal with the kind of emotion and say, hey, you know what, I got stopped out, I lost 1 hour, I can make a trade and make 6R, as we're probably about to do right now. That's a 6R. So what that means, you can miss 6 times a trade and lose 6% of your portfolio, and then make up with just a good trade that you nailed it. And
Yeah.
remember, good trades can happen a lot if you're charting on 5-minute chart. I mean, how many times you are to fail? You really be you must be really so shit to miss 10 trades in row and lose 10%, I guess. um, but
Well,
I'll
I think it's tough when you're first starting, so I would recommend
yeah,
if
that's what I'm yeah,
if
of
you're
course you need to have
scalping.
technicals, yeah, in order to do those scalpings. Again,
But I also think you should lower your risk. I think you should be looking at doing 0.5 of your portfolio for a scalp trade, if
how,
not
how,
less.
how much?
But 0.5% of your
Oh, point
portfolio,
0.5, okay,
of your
okay.
risk percent, or even lower than that, 0.25. But yeah, the 1%. Like if you are taking that many trades, and you need to work out your psychology as well. Are you the kind of person that if you make 5 bad trades in a row on scalps, are you going to be able to walk away and go out for the rest of the day and just have a break from it, or are you going to be trying to get revenge on the market and taking 10 more and then losing 10 more percent?
Here we go,
So
6R. We go
um,
6R. um yeah, so we always say, use the risk, one risk, one risk, one risk, 1% risk, but you guys can do how you like. You can use, as Elisa said, 0.5. You can use 0.25, wherever you really feel to risk of your portfolio. Remember, if you use a 0.5 risk of your portfolio, you have kind of 200 trades that you can do. Um, with your portfolio, but when you use 1% risk, you can lose 100 trades and then you lose all the money, right? So this thing keeps going up. Of course, why first of all, why we picked up RLC, because it was the first one in the list, and so we went to look at it, and it's a coin it's an uptrend. It's a coin that for sure was pretty high, but with our little strategies, we used the Fibonacci 50% bounce, and other support and resistance. We nailed this trade, and that was a perfect good scalping opportunity. Now, what you can do, again, we put a stop loss on 2. Now we're high. Why we don't put a stop loss on 4R? So we put a stop loss. Oh, my computer started to boil. Put a stop loss here, and we aim this time oh, for 8R, right? You put an alarm there again, and let's see how it goes. Actually, it's going really fast. So that's the beauty of scalping when you have a very tight stop loss that is 0.77%. Like doing this trade with a 1% risk, if I hit this target right now, my total portfolio will be up 8%. That's a lot, guys. 8% of your total portfolio. So that's why it's very important for you to really use this calculation and position size manage that we're constantly trying to make you more clear day by day. I had a chat with Crime on the chat channel, and that shows you the different technique, um, that of a trader that doesn't use position sides, and it just buys a coin, and that can be another strategy. I mean, you don't calculate your risk there, you just buy, and then it's different. You just buy, and then if the coin drops, that's up to you to close the trade. It's not very a, a good strategy if you have lots of money and you want to really know how much you're making, how much your risk is. It's tricky. uh, so I had a conversation with him, and I made very good examples. Probably I will take this script of the conversation and make it a good example so you guys understand better what this position size is. So here we hit the other trade, right? We made 8R. Of course, I didn't take profit yet. I just put my alarm. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop this to 6. Now I'm not making money here. That's the shit part, cause um because I'm not trading right now. I'm live with Elisa because we're testing it, and that's something that you're like, oh fuck, I could have been 8% up in my portfolio right now, but unluckily I'm here teaching. We are testing too. So um so what we said, put stop loss as 6. Let's aim for 8. We actually aim 8. So we gotta go for 10 and put the stop loss on. Fuck, let me make another. Oh my god, all are going on. Let me make another one here so I don't go crazy every time. Come on, where are you? Okay. Lisa, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we would have put a stop loss on got 8 6. Sorry, we got 8 here, and we put stop loss at 7. I guess we can put a 7 and reach for 10. Let's see, we reach 10. Actually we reached 10 already. Okay, we reached 10. So what you do, you raise your stop loss to 8, probably 8 right there, and we put an alert on 12. Sorry, this is not 12. Here.
You probably want to project some targets at this point.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
It's kind of coming. It's at previous.
It's at the resistance.
Yeah.
Actually, the first quick target that I would aim for, I would trace my fucked up Fibonacci extension that I do from the lowest to the top, and I will aim for 160. That could be a target, a short-term target based just on this little idea that I have, or we could trace the normal extension from the bottom here to the top to the bottom of the correction, and that will give us, let's see which one works the best, would give us 78 and 100, and actually hit 61 already. As you guys see here, we have 1 2 3 other level. Would you do that, Elisa, just for short?
I'm actually looking on the 4-hour chart at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just saying for short. Would you trace that is like extension from the bottom top down? We have 61, 78, and 100. Or you don't like to do that on the
I
short?
probably wouldn't for a 5-minute chart.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to look at previous support and resistance and to do a bigger fib.
Okay.
So I've got 894 on the bigger fib.
So let's check. What time frame are you at?
4-hour.
4 hour. Okay, so 4 hour. Oh, okay, you got the main wave here, right?
Yeah.
So let's trace our main Fibonacci extension from the bottom to the top down to here, the correction, and that gives our extension. And we have 78% that it's very close, and it's got almost hit there. That's what you're looking for, the 78.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see my my Fibonacci, what it shows us the way I do. it, it gives me this Fibonacci gives me way more higher target. So I aim for under 61 in this case. And the Elisa style, or I mean the normal style, I will give you many other targets.
But I do both, and again, you've got confluence of the two of them,
Yeah.
so which is around the just under 900 mark, which now you're looking at a bit more of a hold than a scalp. So you can see it's starting to get a bit of a red candle now on the 5 minute. So we might come back down again. So you've just got a choice here whether you want to just jump out because you've made your
Good
10% of what
profit
you've
or
made
just
already
risk
is
it. Yeah.
way better than a scalp, or if you want to just hold for a bit longer and try and get another 10% out of it.
Or just sell some and just let the rest, whatever. Like you can even throw leave some coin in it for the long run and bye bye.
Yeah.
That could be another. Okay, now that we trace all this Fibonacci, let's go check the 50 minutes just to see where we at. Actually, I removed my alert. Probably we got stopped out here. Yeah, because I had my stop here. So we out of this trade for now. But we out of this trade. We made 8R, which is extremely good. And our portfolio, if you risk 1%, it's up now 8%. So if you have an 8K portfolio with this trade, you made $800 in 15 minutes. So that's the power of scalping, and that's all the energy that you gotta put in order to make those trades. They're not easy. I mean, that's a good example. I mean, we did great and we did good, but that's not all good as it looks. That's what
No, I think
that's what we
I
want
think
to
that
try. We're not trying to, like, you guys know we're pretty honest with our community, so you need to really know technical and TA before to get in those scalping trades. Because yeah, you can lose a lot. Because 1% risk, it's 1% risk. But again, you need to, like, practice, find your own strategies, indicators. We're showing you guys here many tools, Fibonacci, how to find support and resistances, the bounces. We didn't even look at indicators on this one, or we did. I don't really remember. But indicators sometimes might even confuse you. So just work with the price action of the coin and the candles itself. That can really help you. Indicators can be tricky, but if you find an indicator that really helps you, that's great. uh, oh, what's going on? Oh, that's all my alarms on the phone that I did here. Um, okay, we got stopped out here. Which was the other coin? Um, Mana. What's going on Mana? Oh, it's going
it's
down.
still hovering. Yeah, it's just at
Going
resistance
down.
still.
It's slow. It's a slow. Like, this is a way slower trade than the one we were looking. Why? Because our I'll see. My God, this coin is so hard. RLC as in Italian. It's pumping. It's a coin that it's first on Binance right now in terms of increase in price. So that's why, of course, it's faster. And faster doesn't really mean good. I mean, it's going up, but it can drop quick too. So you gotta make your consideration there. Well, let's leave a Mana now. Well, Lisa is probably wants to go to sleep. It's 1 a.m. in Australia.
Yes, I'm thinking that's a wise plan.
It's 2 hour we did here. Well, that's a pretty good example. Um, I wanted to get an example where we get stopped out, just to make people think that can fail. The strategy can fail too. So I'm
You
all
can have a look at RCN.
RCL,
RCN.
RCN. Oh,
Yeah.
here. Okay. All right, just a quick look at the 4 hour. So yeah, the massive pump here, drop. Let's see how much it dropped. Dropped about a little more than 78. It's kind of like going up again in an uptrend. And you guys remember here you can just trace your normal lines, trend lines, resistances that might help you to do your scalp. Okay. We have this high here, candle close there, that might help. So remember, everything can help you guys here to figure it out, your scalp trade, even though if you're analyzing the 4 hour. Okay, just two main lines here. Then we go check 30 minutes to see if we can find some good Fibonacci on the short term, right? Would you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I like when Elisa agrees with me.
That's because it happens so rarely.
So first the wave retraces 60%, and then the other wave, well, if it traced from here, it's bouncing on 50% right there. But Elisa probably would trace from here one too, right? Would you trace one from the
Yeah,
spike
yeah, I do the options and just see what's
to
hit.
check your 70-70? So what we are noting here is that if we trace not from the correction but from the start of the spike, usually 77 Fibonacci gets hit. And we are on 61 now. 61 is right here. So not quite. I mean 70-70, no, I mean doesn't really matter this one.
It hasn't gone down there yet. The reason I wanted to show this though is more to compare to RLC. So what you did for RLC is you fibbed just that last section,
Mm-hmm.
and you were using those two candles. Which at what time frame? I'm on the 5 minute time frame now.
Oh, okay. Go this 15, 5 minutes. Okay.
So you would have used your yellow candle again. Is it, you use the same technique that you just used with RLC when we looked at it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And imagine you don't see the whole right hand side of that, you just see the top candle and the rejection.
Mm-hmm.
You would have used that. Is that the 38.2 on your fib? Would have been kind of where your bounce point was. So I just wanted to use this as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You would have stopped out.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. I know what you mean.
If you go on the
Let's see what
yellow candle.
right there. Um, let's see. So if I was tracing this coin, um, let's see what I mean. My resistance point, like to find a better like trend line that goes between. I would probably look at 30 minutes, and this is just a way that I do sometimes. I try to see where the coins bounce on the short term. So if this candle bounced here, and then those two candles bounced on this level, which is the 50% Fibonacci I'm looking here. So in this case, I would have put my horizontal line in between those bounds. So in this case, for example, one here that stopped there, and there is another another one that stopped there, kind of bouncing on that level, on that line that I trace. And then there is one that closed there, and another one that closed above. So I would have put a buy order here and put a stop loss just below, and yes, probably I would have get stopped out. That's how I would have took this trade probably. So if this candle was coming back down and I wanted to buy at the resistance, depends how low I would have put my stop loss here. So it depends. If I would have put, let's see my risk reward, I would have put a stop loss just below the 70, because removing this one, this is the main Fibonacci I'm looking at right now, right? 50 and 60. So depends, if you put a stop loss really close to the 50%, yes, in this trade I would have totally get stopped out. But if you put a little bit lower, and probably lower, what would have been a little bit lower point, probably below this low here. I don't put, of course, on the 61%, because this one, if I put here, I rather put it just below 61. But below here, just below this candle, would have given me more space. But of course, it would have been a less strong scalp, right? And again, we know that it still needs to go up and see if I would have get this trade. Again, if I would have if I put it right on the low here, actually, let's see here what's the, yeah, I would have probably get stopped out on this trade. I would have probably calculated this as a low, so I would have put my stop loss just below this low, and I would have get stopped out here just for a tiny bit if we want to consider this as the same trade as RLC.
Yeah.
And then you make your own consideration. You want to re-enter the trade. Remember, if a trade fails, it doesn't mean the coin cannot go up. So you guys can keep re-entering the trade if you think the bounce is gonna happen on the 50 here. See.
Yeah, this is a good example of a not very good coin. Actually, I'm just playing with fibs on it, and it's just not. It's not bouncing anywhere you'd really expect it to bounce.
Yeah, probably 61. It's a better bounce that we would have considered here, where the previous high here, or 70 actually, which is the one that we look for. Even here.
But actually 70, yeah. So this is kind of interesting in that I feel like it might have bounced a bit too high, which is why it hasn't bounced strongly. And we're now seeing wicks off the top, so we could wick down and actually go to the 70.
Which
and this
there is, some good highs here, previous high, right on the, on the 70 level.
Yeah, and this is something I'm guilty of, and I have to be quite careful of. That I'll think, oh yeah, it's bounced, even if it's not exactly on a fib or exactly at a support. And I'll jump in thinking, oh yeah, it's bounced, and then it'll just die again because it hadn't actually. It's just somebody FOMOing in a random, particularly on a low volume coin, random small trade that's pushed it up a bit, and it actually really does want to go to the 70. Like I do find that quite often. So yeah, take care, not jump in.
Perfect. So yeah, we learned a lot. I learned a lot too. Elisa, I don't know if you learned. She already knew. But yeah, no. Every time we do live streams, every time you trade, I mean, you can be the most expert guy on earth. There are things to learn every day from everybody. There's a million strategies in the field, in the world, in crypto world too, that we can use, from scalping, from from Fibonacci, from price action. They are unlimited. So and we didn't even talk about patterns here, because there are patterns that we can trace every time. In this little chart, I can just put a little channel here, and this can be a nice channel that I can trade on the break, for example. When he breaks this, or buy as a support, whatever you want. Probably the support would have been better. Bounce on the 50%, and then when he breaks, I keep working out the coin. and make my trades on the scalping if you want. So, well,